This episode of Quiply Reviews contains spoilers about the story of the movie being discussed and events the movie is connected to. You've been warned. What's up, guys? Dave here, and this week on Quiply's Review Series, Episode 2, and our first current movie of the month, I'm going to do a review of the newly released Doctor Strange from Marvel Studios. Like I said in our first episode last week, on this series I pick out a movie every week to review in depth based on 5 different categories. My first watch, the writing, the directing, the production, and the acting. This week, and I will do one every month, I'm doing a movie that is currently in theaters, Doctor Strange.
You're a man looking at the world through a keyhole. You've spent your life trying to widen it. Your work saved the lives of thousands. What if I told you that reality is one of many?
Directed by Scott Derrickson, it is the newest installment in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It follows one of the lesser-known but still important heroes named Doctor Strange in his origin story. He is a wealthy surgeon who gets in a terrible car crash one day, only to lose his ability to perform as a surgeon through his injuries to his hands. In a desperate attempt to find a way to heal himself, he resorts to traveling to Kathmandu, Nepal, to visit the temple where he is told he could heal himself through alternative medicine. This temple is where Stephen Strange trains as a sorcerer under the Ancient One, the current Sorcerer Supreme, and he eventually becomes the superhero we know and love, Doctor Strange. So I've only seen the movie once all the way through. I saw it on its first day, but I did see a 10-minute sneak preview at California Adventure before seeing it. That sneak peek was in 3D, and I'm not normally a fan of it, but it convinced me that I need to see this movie in 3D. It is made for it, and the alternate dimension sequences look amazing. But aside from that, I was very satisfied with it. I think it's certainly one of the better MCU origin story movies, and Benedict Cumberbatch was a perfect choice for Strange. I'll get more into the details of the rest of the movie in the later sections, as there is a lot to look at and take in this movie. If you don't want to sit through all that, go ahead and skip to the scores right now. If you're here to sit through a bunch of film nerd talk, let's get right into it. As far as the acting goes in the movie, everything was up to par with what Marvel and Disney normally pull off. Benedict Cumberbatch was a perfect match for the character, as I said before, and I even like how he pulls off the mix between a playboy and a house type of character. It'll make for a good addition to the Avengers roster. The villain in the movie, Caecilius, played by Mads Mikkelsen, does a good job on the character and masters this cultish personality needed for the role. A couple other notable roles include Tilda Swinton's playing the Ancient One and Sorcerer Supreme. She nails a character that showcases wisdom and clarity while being able to calmly show a troubled side to the character that creates a conflict not only for just the movie, but the narratives of Doctor Strange stories to come in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Another notable role was Chiwetel Ejiofor as Mordo. While it is known that the MCU is Earth 1999999, etc. For those who don't know, the Marvel Universe has infinite universes, explaining how they are able to change details in the stories over the several years they've done stories. It is interesting to see how they introduced Mordo into the universe. And as the post-credit scene showed us, his role as a villain will be quick yet powerful. The writing in Doctor Strange doesn't need much attention, but I do have some things to commend not just the movie, but the entire Marvel Studios on. The movie itself was exactly how I thought a Marvel movie would go. There aren't too many boring parts, and plenty of nice little jokes slipped in at the right times. They hit a lot of very important and meaningful lines in the heavier parts of the movie, and it all comes together nicely. And while I'm sure Sterling and I will say, again, no matter how many Marvel Studios properties we review or talk about, minus the Incredible Hulk, as you will find out someday, I cannot say enough how well all of the Marvel movies are written. To combine a bunch of comic book stories together into a cinematic universe that reflects the successful connection of just a fraction of the comic book properties, it's just something that can't be repeated in the same way. Production is the biggest part of any Marvel movie. It's the crown jewel of why these movies are so fun to watch. Everything from the costumes, the sets, the special effects, every small detail of the movies immerses the viewer into the world without thinking for a second that it is fake. Doctor Strange was especially good at this, as the costumes, sets, props, all of it were the parts of the production that made fans fall in love with it and casual goers stay locked in. I really loved how they put together Cumberbatch's costume as Strange. And one particular set I liked watching was the New York Sanctum Sanctorum, where Strange becomes the Master Sorcerer at the end of the movie. The artifacts in the cases where Strange finds his levitation cloak are all important Easter eggs to the Doctor Strange comic book fans. Little things like this go a long way. I was surprised I didn't hear much about the Book of Ashanti, as it could have had a place in the plot, but I think it will surface later when Mordor returns. Now, all of the practical effects and production aside, we have to talk about the biggest part of the movie. The visual effects sequences in the movie where sorcerers are manipulating the space around them is absolutely mind-blowing and amazing. It is a visual display unlike anything I've ever seen in a movie. And they could have easily taken this and ruined it somehow. They could have made the spirit realm or the matter manipulation sequences and made them cheesy to look at, or made the people inside the shots not integrate well. But all of it seamlessly comes together and is just breathtaking. I will be going back to see this movie again in 3D just for these sequences, and I recommend it for anyone going. I would even say that this is one of the few movies that is probably better in 3D than in standard format. The directing in this movie was definitely worth praise, but I think it's less about the director specifically, but how every director has been able to integrate the movie into the Marvel Universe so well. I mean, on a realistic level, most directors coming to the Marvel Universe are only there for minor touches, but mostly to make sure the job gets done. I mean, just like I said before, Derrickson is only really known for horror films. That doesn't seem like much of a qualifier to do a heavy visual superhero movie. But I have to say, hats off to Derrickson for being able to pull it all off. So with all of that out of the way, we come to the part of the video where I take my thoughts on the movie, give them scores, and average those scores out to get the overall score for the movie. So to start it off, I'm going to give the first watch of the movie a 9 out of 10. The acting in the movie is a perfect 10 out of 10. The writing in the movie gets a 9 out of 10, just short of 10 just because explaining why Strange gets in his crash could have taken more exposition, despite its great execution. The production gets a solid 10 out of 10. It could not have been done any better. And finally, the directing gets a 9 out of 10. Not a perfect score because it is just a cookie-cutter director's job, and if more personal touches were made to it, it could have stood out more. Averaging all these scores out gets us a 9.4 out of 10, which is absolutely incredible. Marvel Studios never disappoints, and I can't wait for what's to come from them. So guys, that's going to do it for this video. Next week's video, I'm going to be doing Forrest Gump, and I have to say I have some interesting things to say about this one, both good and bad. Don't forget to check the other videos on our channel. Sterling just did a video, his first video for his new series, Dissect the Saga, on the first X-Men film, and he's going to be doing subsequent X-Men films through the coming weeks. Anyway, guys, like, favorite, and subscribe to help us out and stay up to date. I'll see you next week. Thanks for watching Quiply.